Well, hey there, and welcome to this week's video. My name is Clara. I am a tropical houseplant enthusiast with a huge craze for Anthurium, and today I want to bring you an update to a video I published about 6 months ago. I shared my top 10 favorite Anthurium in my collection, and I wanted to come back now that it's been half of a year and tell you how all of those plants are doing. Everybody loved the plants in that video, and I've had a few questions. How's this one doing? How's this one doing? So now that it's been 6 months, it just made sense to do one big update on all 10. Now, a lot has happened in 6 months, and if you're new to the channel, I would actually ask for you to just go ahead and click the little link up here to the original top 10 video. I would love it if you can watch that video first, because spoiler alert, I think the plants as a whole looked a lot nicer 6 months ago than they do now. A lot has happened in my life in the past 6 months, and there's no real way to sugarcoat that it's led to a lot of neglect in my collection. Since putting out that top 10 video, I think the biggest thing that's happened that has affected the plant collection was our move to a new home, which brought with it the idea to put up a greenhouse. Now, only this week have we begun the greenhouse construction. And regulars of my channel, you guys are getting a cool sneak peek as to how things are looking right now. But in that meantime, my plants have been outside on a screened-in porch where it got way too hot, inside to the dining room where they were cluttered and compacted, and that brought its own issues, and then back outside when temperatures finally cooled down. And literally, guys, now it's almost getting too cold for them at night here on the screened-in porch. I'm also 39 weeks pregnant, and we will be welcoming our third child literally any day now. Everything in my life has kind of been in a season of transition, and the plants have just kind of fallen towards, I don't know, lower on the priority list. I mean, some of them are still doing great. Some of them are looking really rough. So at some point, watch that video to see how they looked like 6 months ago. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into these updates, starting with Spider Besseae by BVEP. This plant hasn't really changed much. She's looking considerably similar to how she looked about 6 months ago. We may have a few new leaves on her that we did not have 6 months ago. And honestly, I've got to say that this plant has handled the neglect really, really well. We've got cosmetic damage going around on plenty of the leaves, but the fact that I haven't been able to give my plants much attention at all, and yet it gave me this brand new leaf last week. I mean, the leaf isn't immaculate. It's not a perfect leaf, but the plant's doing really well. It's overall very healthy. It's flowered for me a few times, but I don't think I have necessarily attempted any crosses with this. And the roots are incredibly healthy, despite the fact it's been underwatered too many times to count. Coming in at number 9 in that top 10 video was a plant that's definitely a little worse for the wear. This is Dressleri by Carla Blackiae, Amanda Narrow. And she looks a lot different than she did because I propagated her. It was part of a propagation project to fund the greenhouse you see before you. So definitely worth it. But she lost some leaves. She lost a lot of the root mass because I took, I want to say 2 or 3 cuttings, kept the top for myself, sold the cuttings. And anytime you do that, the plant's going to throw a bit of a tantrum. And so one of the leaves that was on the top just completely yellowed out, died. The other leaf that was on the top, we've got about half of it that's looking a little ugly. But you know, this leaf that was part of that top cutting is still looking phenomenal. And as of like literally, I checked this morning and saw that it is working on a brand new leaf for me as well. Roots are doing great. And so all things considered, I have to say I'm grateful to what this plant has gone through in the past 6 months, from being one of my top favorites to being something that I had to kind of, you know, chop up to go towards the funding of a greenhouse project. But she really made me proud with how she handled that transition, and I was able to generate some income for the greenhouse, and the plant's doing great. So she's really rewarding me for, me mistreating her. And I mean, the important thing is all of these plants are still alive. Like nothing has died. And sometimes when you're a hobbyist like this, and when you collect plants long term, you'll know. We go through seasons where, sometimes the collection looks amazing. And I would say that's how my collection looked 6 months ago. 6 months ago, my collection looked amazing. Right now, we are all kind of struggling, okay? But the plants are all alive, which means that they're still gonna come with me into the next season of my life and the next season of my plant hobby journey. So I know that, probably 6 months from now, after the greenhouse is done and up and running and the plants are in there and they've been thriving and I've adjusted to life with another kid, like I know we'll go through another mountaintop where all the plants are looking great. So what matters is that they're not dead, right? They're not gone. They're just, some of them are looking like this today. You guys are gonna love this update. This is a good update. This plant is doing incredible. I don't even know how, but this is the blister variegated crystallinum I showed you. And as it's aged, I don't really know if I said this 6 months ago, but I had a suspicion that this was actually crystallinum and Carla Blackiae crossed together somehow, some way. As time has gone on, my suspicion has kind of been confirmed. I mean, this definitely looks like it's got some Carla in it, but let me just walk you through the plant. It has done nothing but upsize since I last showed it to you. I was just looking at that video today. I think that this right here was an emerging leaf 6 months ago, and right behind it now today is a leaf that is still just a little bit soft. So this plant has definitely had a great size up, despite the fact that I did also take a bottom cutting of this plant. Did I? I know I tried to. It was on film for you guys when I made my video how to propagate Anthurium for cash. I do think I was able to take like a small single node off of the bottom of this, but keep most of the root mass for myself. And the plant seemed to not even care. It just kept going. It just kept growing. Now, a cool / unexpected twist was that the sinus has kind of mutated. I think this was the last leaf I got with lobes. And then it did this. I'll hold it up a little closer so you can see what's going on. Definitely a mutation. I don't know if it's a genetic mutation or kind of a cataphyll damage mutation. Could have been caused by low humidity, could have been caused by not enough water as the plant was trying to come out of that cataphyll. It did it again with this leaf too. But I'm not really mad at it. I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. If I were given a multiple choice and somebody asked me which sinus do I prefer, I would say I prefer to have my lobes rather than to have this kind of ambiguous caterpillar shorn shape here. But, time will tell. Is this how the plant is just maturing, or was this an environmental stress due to it being severely underwatered every single week? Because this little cup here, I know you can't see much, it's kind of dark, there's a lot of algae happening. Very root bound in this cup, very root bound. It dries out so fast. So who knows. Another update is that with maturity, we also have kind of a development in the petiole shape. So while this plant was young, the petioles were, let me look. They started out looking kind of round, and then as time wore on, we've got some shape, some ridges to these petioles. I am not well versed enough to be able to tell you, what a square petiole means or what, but I do think that this kind of, it's even hard to tell you. I don't know how many sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The petiole is a pentagon shape. So experts out there might be able to chime in on whether that does kind of confirm my suspicion of the Carla Blackiae parentage. I do think that Carla Blackiae does not have a round petiole. I think that crystallinum does. So although this was sold to me as blister variegated crystallinum. I think it's got Carla Blackiae in there somewhere, and my suspicions have just been confirmed as it's grown. Beautiful plant, continuing to look so amazing and incredible and unique. And I'm just happy that third plant in, I've got like a positive update to share. Number 7 on my top 10 video 6 months ago was this Zara by Michelle, kind of like mutated and funky form. And I gave the entire backstory of this plant in that video. And so again, I'd encourage you to watch that video. I think then I go into a lot more detail and backstory about these plants, where they came from, what the hybrids are, you know. But she's just kind of continuing to do her thing. Still pretty funky looking. This leaf is probably the nicest looking. And we've got a new one coming out now that, I don't know, maybe underwatering will prove to deform this leaf. It's kind of hard to tell. I haven't up-potted, although maybe I should, because it's very root bound in here, also dries out very fast. I'm hoping that this plant will take on size soon, but every single leaf that you see in the frame is approximately the same size. I'm thinking that could be due to pot size. Maybe a repot, maybe an up pot will help her gain a little bit of leaf size, but she's doing good. Like, I can't say anything bad, I can't say anything good. Obviously, in the 6 months that have passed, we've gotten some leaf yellowing, some leaf crispiness, but she's still here. She's still doing her thing. She's still looking really pretty and a little bit wonky and kind of frosted, which is what I love about it. All right, a few updates to give about the next plant on the list. This is my stunning Carla Blackiae by BVEP, and this is only one of the 2 identical plants I own. I just did not feel like holding up them both at once right now for you. But this is honestly, I don't know. I placed it at number 6 months ago. I kind of feel like it might have deserved a higher place. I think a lot of you guys really, really like this plant, and I love that it's giving me a brand new leaf just in time for today's video. Looking so beautiful. So in the past 6 months, I have attempted self-pollination, I want to say 3 times, with 2 failures, and the 3rd attempt was just made last week. This plant has proven extremely hard to self-pollinate. I don't know if it's me, which it probably is. Like, let's be honest, it's probably me. It could be just the timing of the flower and I'm gauging it wrong. When this plant does go through the female receptive phase, it is very hard to see. This is not a prolific producer of stigmatic fluid, nor does it ever seem to produce a lot of pollen. So all of my attempts, I have tried my very best, but either just it wasn't receptive enough or I wasn't using enough pollen. I don't know. She has definitely given me plenty of trouble in my attempts to self-pollinate this beauty, but I am not giving up. This is high on my wish list for my collection. Kind of like goals and dreams for my personal stuff is I want to self-pollinate this. So this is only one of 2 plants that I have. I originally had one, I cut it into 2 pieces. Now I have 2 mature flowering plants to increase my probability of a successful self-pollination. This one is working on another flower right now. The other piece had a flower that was in receptive phase last week. I didn't have fresh pollen to use. I had to try with frozen. So far, the flower hasn't died. It's been a week, but I am not getting my hopes up yet because of how difficult this plant has proven to be. So nothing but just kind of mediocre updates on her. She's still growing. She's still doing her thing, and I really can't complain. It's been flower after flower on both pieces. I'm just frustrated that the pollination has just been unsuccessful every time. I'm also having some kind of pest damage, I think, and it is on both pieces. It looks like spider mites. Don't say it's spider mites. I know everybody says that, right? Everybody says, this looks like spider mite damage, but I don't think it is. No, I really don't think it is. I think it's flat mites or something. The leaves, I mean, they look dusty, yes, but like the dust, only about half of the dust rubs off. And the rest of those little white speckles does look like some sort of damage. I don't really know. I don't have the bandwidth to problem solve things right now in my collection. We're just living in survival status, okay? Keep them watered, keep them alive until I am at a point in my life where I can kind of come back to it and give them more time and attention and care. So we might have flat mites, we might have spider mites, I don't know. I haven't even been on top of pest management. I've just kind of let things happen, which I know is a really bad plant parent thing to do, but honestly, it's all I can do right now. But it's great to see that the plants are still so resilient. You know, it's given me this beautiful brand new leaf, even though I've not given it the time of day. And so, yeah, here is the Carla Blackiae BVEP and how it's doing. Whew, it is that time of year for us North Carolinians where it is chilly enough in the morning for a sweater. In fact, I have to turn on the heater on the porch for the plants at night, but it's like 3 p.m. and I'm too hot. The next plant, oh no, you can already see it. The next plant I talked about in my video 6 months ago was my King of Clarinervium clone. And since then, I've actually made an entire video about the difference between a self and a cloned plant. And if I can remember in editing, I will also link that one up above. So this plant was worrying me for a while. This leaf literally just fell off as I was picking her up. And then we've got this, which happened here. I also propagated this plant back when I was like cutting anything I possibly could so that I could sell some propagations and fund this greenhouse here. And after being cut, I wouldn't say she threw a tantrum. She just, I don't know. She just worried me. Lost a few leaves due to yellowing, didn't really seem to bounce back. And I was like, oh no, should I have not done that? But just last week, I'm telling you guys, this is probably the best looking leaf the plant has ever given me as far as those beautiful, beautiful King of Clarinervium traits. So I'm really happy that she didn't give up on life after being cut. And I know the way I'm talking to you guys today, it probably sounds like you should never cut your plants, you should never propagate Anthurium, but honestly, they're fine. I hope that what I can get across is they will be fine. Sometimes you have to take a cutting. Sometimes you have a pest issue. Sometimes you have a root problem. Sometimes you're just like me and you want to build a greenhouse that costs a couple of $1,000s and you need to access the money from somewhere, and your plants are kind of like your bank account. It happens. They're gonna be okay. I don't want you to think that anytime I say this plant kind of wasn't doing so great, it was because I had cut it. It's probably because I had cut it and then neglected it for a little while, just due to life, okay? Just due to life. Life happens. And frankly, most of life is probably more important than the plants. But thankfully, she's doing really well now. And that's just a beautiful leaf. That is just a beautiful King of Clarinervium leaf. The roots are looking good, although I do think I have overwatered a little bit. I see some mushy. I see some dead, and I could, let's see. Yeah. You know, I am not here today as a plant expert. I am here today as a fellow humble collector. We're doing what we can, okay? And here's how the plants are looking, but they're all alive. I need to stop saying that. I need to stop excusing myself. I need to stop apologizing for myself. I don't know. I just hope that nobody's too disappointed by me or by this video, but we'll just keep going, okay? Let's move on. That was a lot of talk for someone who's about to show you the next plant on our list. You guys, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry, but this is probably the worst update. It's fine. It's just ugly, okay? It's just ugly. Please watch 6 months ago's video so you know that this plant is spectacular. But this is what my Carla Blackiae is looking like right now. It's not horrible, okay? On frame, on camera, it's not horrible, but it's pretty bad. We have crispiness everywhere. Like on all of the leaves, we've got some crispiness, some yellowing. Even on the newest leaf, we've got some yellowing. It did push out, I mean, it's a slow plant. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's given me a new leaf in 6 months, except for the leaf it tried to push out about 2 weeks ago. The leaf had like a lot of holes in it, and so I just put it out of its misery. I cut that emergent, And it's working on another one now, which is fine. Like, you can totally do that. Don't let people tell you you can't. If you've neglected a plant, if you know it's been underwatered, or if you know your humidity just hasn't been great, and then you get an emergent that starts coming out and it's looking rough, just cut it off. Just cut it off. Let the plant try again. Maybe try giving it a little bit more attention, because honestly, guys, if your conditions aren't optimal and if your ability as a caretaker isn't top tier at the moment, and your plant is expending all of its energy into a new emergent that's already jacked up, you don't have to waste the plant's energy on that leaf. You can cut off that emergent. The plant is going to be fine. It's going to quickly try to replace the emergent, and that's going to give you time to kind of check yourself as a caretaker, and hopefully the next emergent will look better. So I have up potted. I'll show you that. That's an update. I have up potted because I just wasn't really thrilled with the root system that this plant had, you know, for the past couple of months. So I've up potted and I've really buried it deep to try to encourage some roots from the top section. I don't think I see any new, oh, maybe I do, or is that perlite? It's a frosted clear, so I can't really be certain. I don't think I see new root growth, but I definitely don't see rot or death. So maybe after just a little while in this bigger pot, it'll give me better root development and a prettier emergent. But this is how the Carla Blackiae is doing. And I have to give myself a little bit of grace here. I know that Carla is slow. I also know that Carla is finicky. So the fact that she's still holding on to these leaves and still growing and still pushing out new growth, I think bears that I'm doing okay as a grower. I'm just really not proud of myself when I show you this plant right now. Okay, we've got good updates from now on, and this plant is literally so massive I can use this leaf as some shade. But next up, we will talk about my Dock Block by Luxurians. This is actual size. Like, it's touching my body now, so this is actual size. Of course, that's a little bit exaggerated. This is her newest leaf, just looking exquisite, exceptional, phenomenal. Older leaves obviously are looking like older leaves, but they're fine. I'm not currently having any problems with this plant. I don't have any concerns about this plant. She's hardy. She's really tough. She's spectacular as always. I have up potted her into a larger vessel here, and I think we're getting good new root development. She's still in LECA as she was 6 months ago. I don't have plans to transfer her, although LECA is no longer my preferred substrate for Anthurium. I just think, why bother moving a plant that's happy in LECA when it's this mature, when the roots are that developed and that root bound into the LECA. I did try once to pollinate this. She had a really nice, receptive, large inflorescence. I think it was the same week I moved. I don't even remember what I pollinated it with. And the inflorescence did begin developing, and it held on for a couple of months, and then it aborted, which was fine. It wasn't like a planned pollination. It was just kind of a spontaneous thing. But yeah, you can appreciate her with me that she's doing well. She is holding her own. I really appreciate this as somebody who is currently raising 2 toddlers who need constant help, constant this, constant that, which is fine. That's the nature of being a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. You kind of can't really take care of yourself. But I just feel like this plant is an adolescent slash an adult. Like, in terms of comparing plants to children, this plant doesn't care that I've been kind of absent from the grow space. It doesn't really care that I haven't provided enough water or nutrients or humidity. She's fine. She's grown up. She can take care of herself. And so it is refreshing as somebody who lives the life of a caretaker 24/7, that at least this plant here, she can take care of herself. That's nice. It's really nice. And she's doing great. We've got 2 more plants left and they are both looking phenomenal. I can't wait to grab them for you. Coming in at number 2 on my top 10 video from 6 months ago is a plant that needs no introduction. This is my Mutated King of Clarinervium X Self. I'm going to be brief discussing this plant today, although it is a show-stopping piece in my collection. I've talked about it in 2 recent videos, both an updates video and a video all about Clarinervium. So if I can't link them both here at the top, I'll link them in the description, and if you'd like to know more about this plant or how it's progressed as of lately, I'd encourage you to watch those videos. But just in terms of an update from 6 months ago until now, this plant has changed a lot. She's grown a lot. 6 months ago, I think that this was the newest and biggest leaf. And here it is in relation to the size of my hand. And as of recently, it's given me this leaf, which is quite a bit more developed, quite a bit more mature. We've got different shape, different veining than we had originally. But I really love this plant still. She's just really doing great, and I'm happy to report that. She's flowered, I think, twice. I don't believe that in 6 months I've really disturbed the root mass or taken any cuttings or propagations. So she just continues to do well. She's holding on to some of these older import leaves, although we've definitely got some crisping on the edge, some yellowing, and just kind of some general ugliness of older leaves. But the 3 newest leaves, or really just the 2 newest leaves here in the front, are looking really nice. And she definitely still has a top spot in my favorites. I did want to say, and maybe this is appropriate since we're nearing the end of this video, the plants I'm showing you today, I would not rank them now the way I ranked them 6 months ago. I would either place them differently, like in a different order. Some of the plants I probably wouldn't even put on a top 10 today. The ones that you've seen, they might be out. And I'm pretty sure I have new plants that I've acquired in the past 6 months that if I did make a top 10 as of today, I'd have completely new plants in the list. I'm not gonna make another top 10 right now because I think it's just too soon. It's only been 6 months since my top 10 video. I do plan to do a brand new top 10 for 2026. So sometime around January or February. I would be shocked if this plant wasn't still somewhere in that top 10 by 2026. She's still holding a really high spot even now, 6 months later, and I'm sure you can see why. Thank you for bearing with me to the end of this video because I know you are all here to see the plant that took the #1 spot in my top 10 video 6 months ago. I would say it still has #1 spot today. It is my atypical King of Spades, and you guys, new leaf alert. So beautiful. Everything I've always loved about this plant has remained with this plant. It has not lost any of the traits that have made it special. Those traits have only just become more and more pronounced with maturity. I think 6 months ago, this leaf here was the newest leaf. And in 6 months, I have cut and propagated this plant, sold 2 mid cuttings to help me fund the greenhouse. The plant gave me 2 leaves since then. That would be this one first and this one second. You guys, I would not dare neglect this plant. I love it so much. It's just an exquisite specimen of King of Spades. Again, I'll repeat what I've said already in this video. If you want to know more about this plant in particular, I would encourage you to watch the video from 6 months ago. I even did a side-by-side where I showed you this King of Spades compared to my regular form. And I talked about some of the differences and what made this plant so special. So if you can't really see it right off the bat and you're curious, why do I love this plant so much? You can definitely watch that video from 6 months ago. Additionally, I know I keep teasing this for you guys, but I still plan to do a video dedicated to different kinds of King of Spades, and this one will absolutely be showcased in that video because although this is just a King of Spades, it's not crossed with anything, it's just a King of Spades, it's got phenomenal traits, and I think it's better than the average King of Spades. I absolutely adore this plant. She's doing really well. Roots are extremely healthy despite the fact that I did Also, just overwater her. Oop. I just watered like an hour ago, so it doesn't, don't freak out. I didn't leave her sitting like this, but she's doing really well. Roots are doing really well. The plant is just, oh, amazing. Look at the back of the leaf. I love the back of the leaf. It's very pretty too, although hard to showcase. So yeah, that wraps up the 6-month check-in on my top 10 favorite Anthurium. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that if you are also battling in just a busy part of your life where you're not really able to tend to your plants the way you want to, I hope that you know you're not alone, because so am I. Life happens, life gets busy. As long as the plants are still alive, that's what matters. We can make them look good later. Just keep them alive for now. That's my mantra. That's what I leave you with. And then some of them are just doing incredible regardless of how I'm treating them. And that's just so rewarding and so refreshing when some of the plants in the collection are just that resilient and they just kind of don't care. If you've left them alone, maybe they preferred it that way. So thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video, which better be a complete greenhouse video. It better be the next video I make. I'm gonna lose my mind if this is not done by the time the next video is out. I'll see you guys later. Bye.